And then I could see my grandmother sitting in the amen corner. I could see her out of the corner of my eye, and she had one of those big, lovely hats, right? I see the hat lean forward, and I could tell she was telling me, you need to step it up, sister.
Planet Guitar is delighted today to chat with guitarist, songwriter, and singer Ruthie Foster.
Hello, hello.
Welcome. You've just released your latest album, Mileage. I believe it's your 10th studio album. What has the reaction been to it so far?
It's been great. The reaction has been surprising for me because this album I'm being a lot more mm, again, telling more of my story, more of the last 10 to 20 years, all in one album about mileage itself. That particular song is about being on the road and the things I found exciting, things I found inspiring, and things that I found makes me tired. And it's all in that song. So yeah, this it's been a great reaction to it. Just had a weekend here in Texas with my full band recording, not recording, but well, we recorded the live part of it because I want to hear it back. So yeah, I'm really excited about this album.
You're now working with the producer Tyler Bryant. Um, did you choose him or how did that happen?
Yeah, it was kind of a choice that yeah, we kind of chose each other once we had finally got in the room together. But a lot of it was my management had some to do with it because they knew Tyler. Tyler is the husband to Rebecca Lavelle of the Lavelle sisters of Larkin Poe. And I found Tyler during the pandemic, during the lockdown, when every musician I knew was on YouTube University trying to figure out their equipment to record at home, right? And that's how I found Tyler. Tyler has a great studio in his house, which is where we recorded all of his music from. And I found out that he was from Texas, and there's a connection. I like that connection, and that he really he had his teeth sunk into the blues feel when it came to playing slide. I first saw him play slide, and then I found out later, oh, he's a rocker too. He can rock out. So I thought that would be a really great combination to put those two things together because you hear mostly there's blues in here. There's middle. It's like Americana. I'm looking at the title. I always keep the titles in front of me, the title of the album, and then there's you hear a few of those rock notes in the more rock anthem in some of the songs, and I kind of dig that.
I read that you and Rebecca, maybe Megan and Tyler were sitting around chatting about your life growing up in Texas, fishing, um, singing choirs and so on, and that some or many of the songs came out of those chats. Is that right?
That's exactly right. That's what we did. Um, Started it out just sitting on the couch in their house, Rebecca and Tyler, and then it was mostly in between tours. I did a lot of touring. This was all last year, so I was just I tour and then I fly up to Nashville and sit on their couch and drink a lot of strong coffee, and that got me chatting about my life and growing up in Central Texas. And Rebecca has a wonderful way of just making you feel like you're the most important person in the room. And I love that. Her way of having a conversation was so natural. And Tyler does the same thing.
Hmm.
So they're a beautiful couple in that way.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, and so I just started talking about my childhood growing up in the country and picking tomatoes and I love fishing and how I miss fishing because I had been on tour for so long. And Tyler's walking around with a guitar, right? Well, Rebecca and I are talking, and he's picking up on what things that are coming out of my mouth. And I think that's pretty much how we ended up with it was mileage. That was one. And I talked about growing up in this particular area in Texas called 6 Mile, where most of my family still live. And he thought that was a great title, 6 Mile Water, because it was right next to the Brazos River. And so that's how we came up with the song 6 Mile Water. He just started playing something. And then I had a little something I had been working on for years, I had been sitting on, and it worked together. So it was just really, a lot of spontaneous and really organically is how this album came about. And I'm very proud of it. And of course, we had to ask Megan to come over and put a little something, something on these tracks as well, just to
Uh-huh.
complete the whole family.
Uh-huh. I'd like to ask you specifically about the song Done. Was that was, I think, written more with Larkin Poe, with the two of them. What was it like writing with women compared to writing with your band?
Yeah, that's interesting that you point that out. That is exactly what made it different. Writing with these voices, knowing that we could actually feature the voice up front and very little instrumentation. And I think that's what that song captures. Um, that, and we really wanted that feel of women sitting at the table, at the kitchen table, maybe somebody, Megan, with a slide, just kind of adding a little tasty something to the conversation. We wanted it to sound like it's just a women sitting at the kitchen table with church fans and just talking about, ooh, I don't know where I'm going, and but I know I'll get there. And when I get there, ooh, child, I am so done. I'm so done. I'm done. So that's what we wanted to make it feel like. I know I did. And Rebecca just fell right in there. And of course, Megan is just, you know, she's relentless with just being able to just put the right amount of sugar in there. And that's what made it so beautiful, so tasty. It's like
Uh-huh.
a meal, right?
It's a lovely song. It really. I saw them play it live actually, and it was lovely. It stood out for me in the set. Yeah,
Hmm.
and they've got some bangers.
Yeah, they do. And I'm so glad. I didn't know they were doing it. That's so great. I didn't. I'll have to catch them. We keep missing each other on the road, so yeah, I'll have to wait till I get a chance to catch them to hear them sing that.
That's you with and is it a national guitar on the cover of your album?
That is a Regal,
It's a Regal
actually.
guitar.
Yeah, it's one of the less expensive ones. So, and I've had her for a long time. In fact, her name is Jessie May. I name all of my guitars. And I named her after Jessie May Hemphill, the blues, actually more like the Mississippi. There's a Mississippi sound, the drum and fife sound out of northern Mississippi. Jessie May Hemphill was known for that. Her father, Sid Hemphill, was actually known as a fife player and guitar player, but she played too. And again, going back to that sound with Dunn, that is what I wanted to feel. I wanted it to feel like Jessie May sitting at the table with her leopard hat on and just talking about where she done been and where she gonna go. So yeah, that's funny that you recognize that guitar, and that's why I wanted her on the cover. Yeah,
Oh,
Jessie May.
thank you. To go back, you grew up on a small farm in Texas. Could you tell me about that moment in your church choir when you sang your first solo song?
Yeah, scary. It was very scary. In my family, we grew up singers, but I always wanted to be more of a background person. 'Cause I was really, really shy. And so I was very happy sitting in front of the piano or playing guitar or tambourine. in the background. But it was my turn. All of the kids, when they get to a certain age, you are expected to sing a solo. And so here I was studying my solo for weeks at a time and finally got up to do it. And it was a song called Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior. And I started singing it really, really soft when it was my turn to sing. And then I could see my grandmother sitting in the amen corner. I could see her out of the corner of my eye, and she had one of those big, lovely hats, right? I see the hat lean forward, and I could tell she was telling me, you need to step it up, sister. So I had to catch myself and sing a little louder, right? And then I saw the hat lean back. And I knew I was okay. Just the right amount of tasty to get through the song.
That
That
was
was my first time singing it in front of my choir.
Yeah, that was exactly the question I was going to ask you about that particular song because you can sing it in a quite a restrained way, or you can really let it rip. And I was wondering exactly how you took it on.
Oh yeah, my uncle was a piano player. My grandmother's youngest brother was a piano player in our church, and I would play organ once in a while when he let me. But yeah, the way he played, you had to sing. It was just moving. And I learned how to play piano just like that. It's just gospel playing with a lot more rhythm. Yeah.
Can I ask you, was that a moment when you sang that song and under the guidance of your gran? Um, was that a moment when you saw the reaction of the audience and thought, this is this is this is really me?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. On that song and a couple of other solos that I did in the choir. I did several. I was really into Andre Crouch songs, Edwin Hawkins, um, oh my gosh, Dorothy Norwood was a wonderful gospel songwriter. So the more I sang in the choir, the more I got a taste for uh, that feedback. And that started in church. I didn't play in front of people until I started singing and playing in my church. Because in a lot of in the Black community in the South, as a early musician playing in church, you're very nurtured, and it doesn't matter what you play or how bad it may sound. Those sisters they're gonna tell you, baby, just keep going, just keep pushing until you get it right. Every day is a day to get just a little bit better. So yeah,
Am I right in thinking that the church in which you were singing was predominantly or all black, and that
yeah,
the environment in Texas is mostly white and conservative?
yeah. Texas is mostly a red state, as we call a conservative state. But it so happens that Austin, where I live now, is the blue oasis within the red.
Ah,
Um,
yeah.
this is where I grew up in this area, Central Texas, and very much a Black community because in that same property that 6 Mile Water, the song 6 Mile Water talks about, that's where I spent all of my youth, my young adult, and childhood time. I had 22 cousins, so I was always surrounded by relatives in school. Passed me down clothes, everything was all about family. My mother had 8 brothers and sisters. My grandmother had 5 brothers. Just a huge family. And yeah, we lived in a town that was mixed. It was black and white, but it was very segregated too. Town of only 500 people, Gause, Gause, where the blacks lived on one side and a particular side of town, and then the whites lived on the other side of the railroad tracks and some across. So yeah,
Was it a difficult environment for you to grow up in?
not at all, because with kids and in school, we played together. We fought. We made up, with kids, we're not born to see the difference. So it didn't matter growing up in school. But I have to tell you, yeah, when we get to our houses, when we get home, we all walked. Everybody walked home. Then you notice the difference because that's when we would walk in separate ways, right?
Yeah.
And then through the older generation, you were expected to stay in that particular area, but we would still find a way to get on our bicycles and just meet up and play together anyway, black and white, every time.
Later, you unusual sort of surprising parenthesis in your life when you were in the Navy for 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years active and 4 years reserve.
And I think you were working on helicopters.
Mhm.
Did you fly a helicopter?
Yeah, I worked on helicopters in San Diego. I was stationed in North Island, San Diego. And I worked on SH-2s. Anybody out there that knows about the Huey helicopters? I think they were known for checking on and dropping the sonobuoys that detected submarines. So yeah, I worked on the electric panels for those helicopters. I ordered parts. I ordered uniforms. Whatever was missing, that's what I would do.
Did you
Just
fly?
like,
Did you fly
can I?
one?
No, not yet. I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it. Yeah, yeah.
That must have exposed you to very different musical genres suddenly working in that environment.
Yeah, I've always wanted to work with my hands. Growing up as a musician and growing up talking nothing but music with friends, and then going to college to study music, graduating top of my class as first black female to actually graduate in this commercial music program. I got to a point where I just wanted to do something totally different. And I figured, why not do that? And it was a way, I have to say, this was the way I saw out of this small town. Like a lot of people in the military are really, a lot of them are small town people, small town boys and girls who just want to get out of town. And that was the way. And that's what I did. That's what I wanted to do. I had never been to California. Okay, let's go there. I had never been to Charleston, East Coast, South Carolina. Okay, I'll try that. So yeah, I was just in that early period of yes, 19. I had just graduated from high school and then I went to college. I spent 3, 4 years there. So mid 20s. This is just what I wanted to do, something different.
You recently, I think regularly, have gone on the blues cruises, um, and you even wrote your one of your most famous songs, singing the blues on one. I'm just wondering if these cruises kind of link with your Navy years, your need to be out in the open sea.
I welcome cruises because of that, really. I love being on the water, next to the water. It's funny that I'm in a place where I'm landlocked right now. I was just talking to a friend of mine and she was asking me, "Are you really where you want to be? Where do you want to go if you decide to retire?" Well, first of all, retirement, yeah, maybe not, but I do want to get close to the water again. Yeah, I love being on cruises. I think my band, we've done as many as 3 cruises in a year. Two of them were blues cruises, and one was a songwriter cruise. And I've done the Olivia cruise, where it's all ladies, all women. So yeah, I do kind of enjoy that and get my sea legs again.
The Navy's still important to you, is it?
It really is. The Navy, being in the military was, I have to say, the boot camp part of it, the 8 weeks of just training, basically stripping you of being a civilian and making you basically government property is what you are. That really bothered a lot of people, but for me, it did not bother me because it was really about learning how it was discipline.
Hmm.
And I grew up with discipline,
Yeah.
very disciplined family.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for my work ethic.
Uh-huh.
I do know that. And I learned a lot of that really coincides with being in the Navy and or any military branch for that matter. Um, Learning how to be prompt on time. Um, and then the humanitarian side of it. You, it's not about you. It's about you, your community. It's about your country standing for something. And that means a lot to me. Coming from a family who was basically about that. You stand with and for your family. Even when I was in college, I recall being really, really sick. I had pneumonia and didn't know it, and had come to a point where I had to be hospitalized. When I woke up in my hospital bed, I had so much family in the room with me. So, yeah, I grew up with that mentality where if something happens to you, the people that your family, and even in the military um, case, will surround the wagons. They'll circle the wagons to be there for you. And my brothers and sisters that I spent time with in the military, I do love them still, and I still see them when I go out and play in different places. They've all moved on, retired, but it's so cool to see a lot of them because I was in a military band for
Right.
the latter half of my term,
Oh,
and so I still see a lot of those musicians and have played with them off and on through the years of my travel. It's so wonderful to see them. Even my ex-husband, who's I consider him, we're friends. So it's really cool to run into everybody again and see that they're still playing. A lot of them.
you've played with some amazing people, the Blind Boys of Alabama, Derek Truck, Susan Tedeschi, Warren Haynes, Pete Seeger, Robin Ford. I mean, these are just a few names that come to mind. I'm just wondering now if any, when I mention those names, does any particular story make you smile when you think of
Oh wow, there's so many, and so many I can't tell.
best ones?
Those are the juicy ones. Oh my gosh. I guess I'll have to stay with Susan and Derek. They're just beautiful people. They truly are. The music that you hear, that's just them, and they're home. I like to call them home people. They just make me feel at home whenever I see them. Even when I'm just on the road and I get a chance to just be backstage and hang out with them, you know,
Any
they're just very
story?
warm.
Any, if you could choose one story, an anecdote that comes to mind now with them?
Well, let's see. Yeah, I think it was years ago in Asheville, uh, uh, in the Carolinas. I want to say North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina. Well, where the hurricane just went through and destroyed this town. And my heart goes to Asheville because it's such a wonderful, beautiful, culturally diverse, just a beautiful city. And we were there for Warren Haynes, his Habitat for Humanity concert. There's a concert that he gives, a Christmas concert he gives every year. And gosh, I wonder if he's doing that this year. That would be great to go to. And everybody comes. The Allman Brothers are there, and but Susan and Derek were there. And it was I think it was maybe my second time meeting Susan. And I think John Osborne was there. And we were all backstage. And there was a song, I don't remember the song. It's kind of a jam. The whole thing is, I think it's called a Christmas jam. And we were all backstage, yakking and talking. And we hear a song that we all knew, and we all start singing background to it in the background, in the backstage, and we all realized we should go sing this out front. So we were all, ran out front and just grabbed the microphone and started singing together and trading parts too. And that's when I realized, oh man, these chicks got it together. I feel like I can hang. That was just a beautiful story for me to actually get a chance to just be backstage doing nothing and then we all come together to sing music on the one of our some of our favorite songs. We just stayed out all night long singing background vocals to whoever came up to play. Travis Tritt, he was there that night. It was just wonderful.
It's a lovely story. Thank you for sharing it with us. You're currently on tour promoting the album in the US. You'll soon be off to the UK, I believe Australia, then back to the US again. That's a lot of mileage, Ruthie.
Touche. Yes, it is. It is a lot of mileage, but not as much as I used to do actually. I know the lockdown really changed a lot of things when it came to venues. We lost a lot of venues after that, but we also gained a few new ones too. So I think uh, in all, in essence, it created this flow, and that's how it works in the entertainment business. So I'm staring at my year now because you caught me basically looking at the last 10 to 20 years here of how many shows I've done. And I noticed I did a lot of shows during about 10, 15 years ago. And I'm actually doing less, but the shows are bigger. And I like to think that the music does the same thing. The music's bigger too. And the music that I'm making now is more myself than ever. And that's what makes me so excited to put it out in front of people now. And that I feel okay about doing that. I've stripped myself down and put myself into this music. And
Um,
I'm so hoping people appreciate this as much as I do.
I've no doubt about that. Your daughter, I believe, is about 12 now, and she's a singer. How do you manage to is she able to join you on any part of the tour?
She will be. She's in middle school right now, and so we're struggling, and she's struggling to get through that. We have to get her through that and get her on that road to wanting good grades, wanting to finish. Finish what you start. And I think that was the talk that we had just now, right before this interview. I dropped her off, and we had a great talk about that. You have to finish what you start. It's very important to learn that lesson first. And I think I would love to take her out with me in the next year or so. So we're looking at that, maybe even as soon as next summer, because she does sing really well.
It's quite a family tradition. Your grandmother, your mother, you, and now your daughter.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe she can take care of Mama in the end. I can carry her guitar.
Ruthie, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you. Best of luck with the promotion of your album and your tour. You take
Oh,
care.
thank you so much, dear. Thank you. Blessings.